Deepika Padukone, Janhvi Kapoor, Kiara Advani, Rashmika Mandanna. Bollywood's biggest actresses keep getting cast opposite South superstars. But here's the strange part. Remove many of their characters from the film and the story barely changes. So why are producers spending crores on stars they barely use? The answer is simpler than you think. The goal here is not to criticize the South Indian film industry for casting Bollywood stars. This video was simply made to figure out why the South Indian film industry fails to give them substantial roles despite their talent. So like me, if you are wondering why this pattern keeps repeating, you need to watch this. Because I think I figured out exactly why this is happening. Let's start with the most basic reason. Marketing. Once upon a time, the language and the cultural difference had kept South Indian films away from mainstream cinema. But in recent years, there has been a major shift. Language isn't a barrier anymore. People from all over India are flocking to theatres when a new South Indian movie is released. Subtitles solve the language barrier problem. Songs are enjoyed for their catchy tunes and energetic performances. The acting, the direction, the plot, all of these are enjoyed and appreciated. People have been so fed up with lackluster Hindi films that they were forced to explore other film industries. They finally realized that good Indian films exist outside Bollywood. Once these films were criticized for not meeting the high Bollywood standards. Now, they are more celebrated at the box office than most Bollywood films. Now here is the interesting part. This new shift in the world of cinema made film producers realize something. The viewership change immensely increased box office collections. Films like RRR and KGF Chapter 2 made nearly 1,000 crores domestically. Globally, they made even more. Baahubali 1 and 2 made headlines and made over 2,400 crores globally in total. The numbers boomed like crazy. It set a new benchmark for South Indian films and the Indian film industry in general. The result? Higher pressure and bigger ambitions. Not every South Indian film did well. The purely Hindi audience didn't really know every big South Indian star. So retaining this viewership was a little tricky for the producers and directors. Then they had a light bulb moment. They started including Bollywood stars in their movies. But there was a catch. Casting the male lead would discourage South Indian viewers, loyal viewers who they couldn't afford to lose. Their solution? Casting Bollywood actresses as the female lead. If you think about it, it's a good strategy. A star cast is almost always a foolproof plan to attract interest even before the film is released. Many loyal fans will visit the theatres to support their favorite stars. Casting Bollywood actresses would make sure that these films catch the interest of the Hindi audience even if they don't know the rest of the cast. The South Indian actors would promote their film to one section of the audience. The Bollywood actress would appeal to the Hindi audience. The pan-India appeal would make sure that the film reaches as many people as possible. The trend of casting Bollywood actresses in South Indian movies isn't very new. The industry has been doing this for generations. Actresses like Sridevi, Jayaprada and Aishwarya Rai worked in South Indian films a long time ago. Cross-industry casting has always existed, but the reasons have changed. Earlier, actresses moved because filmmakers genuinely wanted performers who could carry important roles. But now the castings carry a different meaning. The marketing angle is prioritized and not the acting talent. That's why they are rarely given a substantial role. A strong plot is never actually created around her. She is just included to increase the scope of Hindi audiences coming to theatres. So, an item song or a small insignificant role seems good enough to include them in the film. It kept the original plot unchanged, and no unnecessary time was spent in trying to find her a bigger part to play. Even if the role eventually disappoints audiences, the strategy works. The casting generates publicity. The publicity increases awareness. The awareness helps the opening. The film earns money. The industry repeats the strategy. Now we ask a different question. Is this strategy becoming a problem? Well, the answer is both yes and no. The strategy is still working. Stars are still generating hype and interest. But the audience is also getting disappointed with how little these stars are relevant in the film. They may visit the theatres for the hype, but they become annoyed to know that the star they came to support has a minor role. If the pattern keeps repeating, eventually people will lose interest. That's what the industry needs to understand. I mean, we already had a ton of problems in the film Peddi. People are already upset that Janhvi Kapoor was reduced to a character that exists simply for the lead's entertainment. The overly sexual angles and objectification is also triggering the audience. So the last minute item song add-ins are not really impressing anyone. Bollywood actresses are extremely talented in their own right. I think they would do exceptionally well if given the right role. They aren't just good for marketing and drawing an audience. The South Indian industry needs to realize that. Hopefully they will. And soon we will see our favorite stars in bigger and better roles in South Indian cinema. I'll wrap up today's video with that. Please let me know your thoughts. Your comments and interaction will mean a lot to me. And if you are someone who loves knowing about the film industry, do subscribe and keep following us for more videos. Thank you so much.